I'm Brian Ness. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I grew up here for the majority of my life and grew up in a pretty typical Minnesotan home where I knew from a pretty early age that I was gay, but knew that there was a lot of tension between who I was and who I wanted to be and who my parents were hoping I would be. I knew for a good portion of my life that I shouldn't be talking about maybe what I wanted to be. So by the time I graduated high school, I moved to Chicago because I was looking for a place where I could really define who I was, define what it might mean to be a gay man, and moved to Boys Town, did sort of like the epitome of what I expected to discover. And then my dad grew really sick, and I knew that as a son, I should be coming back home. And I think it was really hard because I finally found out maybe who I wanted to become and had to move back into a house where I knew that it wasn't going to be appreciated and it definitely wasn't going to be accepted. I had come out to my family already at that point, but they didn't really want to talk about it. So moving back into a house that so much of what I sort of became or began to stand for wasn't talked about, and it was tough, but I think it was close to the end of my dad's life when he walked up to me one morning when I was eating breakfast, and he asked me if I was gay, and it was the first time we talked about it in person, and I was kind of annoyed and frustrated at that point, and was like, yeah, I've talked to you about this already, we discussed it when I was back in Chicago, I'm gay. And he just kind of said that he didn't understand what that meant, but that he hoped I would be able to show him that. And I didn't, because he died pretty closely thereafter. But looking back at it, I really realized that he finally was ensuring that I knew that I was a part of the family and that my perspective and my life was important to sort of the way that our family was moving forward. And I stayed here. I stayed in Minnesota, and I love it now. It took some time, and I missed a lot of stuff about maybe who I was, but really found this new balance between sort of these new ideas or possibilities of what I could become and sort of maybe who I grew up to become. I don't know, it's a good place, and finally kind of ready to establish myself here. I just bought a home today, and ready to sort of be in here for the long haul.